What, Tim?
Go ahead.
What do you think the future is for you? I mean, is it something that do you build a family business where you're trying to give it off to your kids? Do you try to sell it? Do you just do this for a little bit and then retire? Like, do you look at stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. I would love to. Of course, I would love to expand. I was trying to expand a little bit in 2020. We was testing the Richmond market a little bit from May to up until February. And then we kind of scaled back a little bit from that market. But, I would love to turn it over to my kids. We have a joke around the house, who's going to take it over, who wants to work in it. Unfortunately, little KJ, he's only 3 right now, so he don't have a clue what's going on. But he does love to wash a car. For some reason, he still loves it and tries to help out where he can. And Antonia loves to help, too. She's only 7, about to be 8. So I'll eventually love to, take it on and give it to one of them, or the option of selling it. I would love to, the time hasn't come, selling it is also in the near future as well.
How is the community of car detailers? Are they a tight-knit community where if you're overbooked, would you refer that to someone else, or is it more of a cutthroat community? You don't have to name names or get anyone in trouble or anything.
It's fine. Well, I find that it's a combination of both, and I say that because locally you have a bunch of guys that probably been here before me. You have a bunch of guys that probably started here or was born here, I should say. They see it as competition, or they see it that I don't want to say hate, but it's like where did that guy come from? In such a short period of time. So, and that's from coast to coast. I'm part of that network, and that's from coast to coast. It's a competition for the main part, but you'll get some personal. I don't like you just because I don't. You'll get that little stuff, but here it's so small that whether we know it or not, we all share the same customers or in some form or fashion. I'm the type of person that I don't throw shame at nobody just because they missed a spot or they did something wrong or vice versa. I always show love no matter what it is, because if we're fighting, the customer wins. And that's one thing that I always try to preach, and I hope they all understand it, that, if we're fighting, we're going to, point fingers at the next person. Just remember, it comes back around. And I think I proved that over the past 5 years. I have no reason to fight or compete when there's enough cars that we all not going to be able to touch. So,
but I think historically people talk about competition as something that is because there's only so big of a pool, right? And so you got to think that a lot of these people, especially in your type of business where there is only so much manpower, there is only so many vehicles that are available, that you are, as the new guy or anyone coming on the block, they're potentially taking away, cheddar from them. And I understand and I grasp it, right. But I think, as you're kind of saying, is, well, are we really competition? Are we really going after the same people? Is there a way that we can work together? And I think historically that's something that people did not really embrace or endorse. It was always like, I'm just going to go do that too. And I think there's probably a niche in there that you've established and realized that's done well for you. That's completely different for someone else, that you guys could kind of just, you take this one, work together, and all sides of it work, right? You do the Tesla work, you do this, this type of work, or whatever it is, this one's soft paint. Okay, well, I don't want to work on soft paint. I want to work on this other thing. So if you give me all these, I don't really want to do this thing. I'll give you all those. And so it's interesting how competition is the thing that a lot of people talk about, when I think it's really a really irrelevant conversation that it should be on the back burner in many ways.
Yeah, because I think about like the beer community here in Williamsburg. All those
people
guys
are gonna drink.
Yeah, but all those guys talk, and all those guys have their certain beers, but they also network, and a lot of those guys have a lot of things they do together, and it's just interesting how what some can say is competition, but others can say, hey, that's a good group.
And when they do those collaboration efforts, it helps everybody.
There you go. Yep.
It's an interesting way to put it on with the beer community, because I don't think a lot of people think about that. But I mean, like, there is, right? And honestly, think about the coffee community that came up too. Well, let's stick with the beer community. I mean, what are you really diving into? Like, what are you really competing against in the beer community, right? Is it the Budweisers of the world? Is it the Trulies of the world? I mean, you're competing against those people. So anything that you can do to pull that away, if you're in the buy local movement, I think would be beneficial for you.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, because like I said, even like where my location is, you got two beer companies walking distance between each other. Just like right now, I have another detail shop within walking distance of my business. I'm constantly getting asked, because that guy just came on the road probably about over the course of the year. How's that affecting your business? Well, it's not affecting my business. He's just enhancing the car community as if I'm doing the same thing. I have nothing negative to say. He's not affecting any work from us. I'm not taking away from anything from him.
Competition makes people stronger, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah, big wrestling fan here, as you can see by the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson poster behind me. Wrestling, WWE.
Okay.
Yes, I'm 37 years old and I still watch wrestling. Yeah, please all the jokes, throw them at me. The greatest wrestling time period is when you had two wrestling organizations that were competing against each other at the exact same time on Monday nights. The ratings were like 3 to like 7%, maybe even higher than that, of a ratings per night, which was just ridiculous for ad revenues and things like that. And so that was the best thing. Right. And so I would be willing to bet too that when you watch, March Madness, or you watch football games, when you have competing games, they probably do better against each other because you have to pick one, and people are going back and forth, and so their ratings are higher like that. And so it's interesting that competition in a lot of these cases actually gets more money out of people, yet we complain about it as something that's not super helpful to a business.
Right. Yeah, which is true, and that's why I said before, when we fighting, we're feuding, the customer wins. We don't have to do this thing, and if we all, like I said, we all going to share the same customer somewhere or another. Someone may not have put on signs. Someone may know how to put on film than the other. Someone may can paint cars. I mean, someone may can take a whole truck bed. You just name it. We all bring something different to the table. That we can enhance the whole car community. Am I opposed to work with anyone? I work with anyone. My friends are my wife and my two kids. You know what I mean? So that's my muscle right there. So to be competing over some cars, no, man. We can compete on other things, but cars not going to be one for me.
Are you stuck at your home office, socially distanced coffee shop, or your fancy all bricked out corner office, wondering why no one can see your business and sales are all over the place? Sounds like you need a pro. That's why I developed the Anomaly Academy. Insert clever copy here. Oh, I guess I was supposed to put something else there. Oops. You can grab access to the Anomaly Academy now at ZachMillerSays.com/Anomaly Academy.